Christian theologians versus morality. Christian theologians versus morality. That's a statement, actually. This is about an age-old battle that is repeatedly fought against basic morality through the acceptance of the wicked doctrine of original sin. The snake in the garden asked Eve a question that has since been codified in that doctrine. Did God really tell you that? Did God really say that? Apostle Paul condemns the human race here. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God, Romans 3:23. In that same context, he also said this, as it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that understandeth. There is none that seeketh after God. They are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Their throat is an open sepulchre. With their tongues they have used deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways. In the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. That's Romans 3:10-18. Question. In that context, who are the all Paul is talking about? Tell me where his quote is written in the Old Testament, and who were those Old Testament passages talking about? Here is the answer to those questions. The context of Romans chapter 3 is about both Jews and Greeks as races, and is not about every individual having sinned as the false doctrine of original sin teaches. There have always been some who did believe and obey God. Now this is what Paul said earlier. What advantage then hath the Jew? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect? That's Romans 3:1-3. The Jews were brought under condemnation, more condemnation, because God had blessed them with his word. What then? He goes on, what then? Are we better than they? He's actually saying, what then? Are we Jews better than they? No, in no wise, for we have before proved, both Jews and Gentiles, that they are all under sin. That's 3:9. Those strong condemning texts are from Psalms and are talking about the wicked as being fools, but they also mention God's righteous people. This is David. He said, the foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. The Lord will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. But as for me, I will come into thy house, into the multitude of thy mercy, and in thy fear will I worship toward thy holy temple. Lead me, O Lord, in thy righteousness, because of mine enemies. Make thy way straight before my face. For there is no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is very wickedness. Their throat is an open sepulchre. They flatter with the tongue. Destroy them, O God. Let them fall by their own counsels. Cast them out in the multitude of their transgressions. For they have rebelled against thee. But let all those that put their trust in thee rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy, because thou defendest them. Let them also that love thy name be joyful in thee. That's Psalm, the 5th chapter, the 5 to 11 verses. And notice he says, let all those. Must be a number out there that do trust God. The fool hath said in his heart, There is no God. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquity. There is none that doeth good. God looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand, that did seek God. The Psalms 53, 1 and 2. Now there is a definite difference between the children of men and God's righteous people. We use the term child of God and so forth. You can do a search on children of men and see how many times it talks about good people. Now, have the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread? They have not called upon God. There were they in great fear, where no fear was, for God hath scattered the bones of him that encampeth against thee. Thou hast put them to shame, because God hath despised them. Psalm 53, 4 and 5 talk about a work of iniquity, but he also talks about his people. Just as those texts are not about every individual being guilty because of Adam's sin, the same is true about Christ's ministry, for he did not save every human unconditionally. Everyone who is born again had to first repent. And in addition, we are never to join the devil in being accusers of the brethren. Now, this is the end of this presentation. Carnal-minded people, because they have never been born again, miss what Apostle Paul said in Romans 7:5. That's a rather notorious chapter. But right there at that 5th verse, Paul said this, when we were in the flesh. Then including, he goes on in the 8th chapter. And those people that miss that will never understand this. Well, thank you for checking this out. And I hope it blesses you.